So NIO Stock is down around 9% on the month. It's down 11% over the last 3 months and down 25% over the last 6 months. So NIO Stock is trending down. It's in a long-term downtrend and it's looking bearish at the moment. But the big question is $3 the bottom for NIO? Is it going to test this again in the next few weeks and start to move up on positive news from NIO's earnings report? In this video, I'm going to talk about the price action of the last few weeks and where price could be heading next. Let's take a look. Now, if you find value in my analysis of NIO Stock today, or perhaps other stocks on the channel, you may also find value in my trading tips email newsletter. If you subscribe, I'll send you professional trading tips to help you make more profits trading stocks. I'll leave a link in the description below. Check it out. So you can see on screen, we're looking at the monthly chart for NIO, and we're looking at the long-term trend all the way from January 2021 up until the present day. And you can see on this monthly chart, we've got a confirmed downtrend line, confirming the stock is trending downwards long-term. Now in April this year, NIO did trade down and test $3. And at that point, during the month of April, price did reverse. There was some buying interest and price did trade back up to close around $4 from that $3 support line. Now since then, it has fallen away in the last couple of months during May and also during the current month in June with a week to go. So right now, it does look as if NIO is trending down, the shorter term trend conforming to the longer term trend. And it looks as if it might go down and test that $3 support level once again. So on the weekly chart now, we can see that the long-term trend is in place. And we can see that key level of $3 corresponding to the recent price trough. And looking back at the historical price action of NIO, it has traded up and down around this $3 level during 2020 and all the way back to 2019. Now looking at key price levels for NIO Stock, the first one we can see is the all-time high of around about $66. And this is that significant peak created back at the top of this massive price surge during January 2021, where NIO pushed all the way up from around $3 and maxed out at $66, a very, very bullish run. But since that time, it has been heavily sold off and in a steady decline over the last 4 to 5 years. Underneath that level of 66, you can see NIO did find some temporary support around about $30. You can see here this low here, and also this low came close here, and that was around May 2021. Underneath that level, you can see that price hit resistance here in April 22 and also June 22 around about $25. So let's mark that line up as well. This peak here, which was created in August, July 2023, is around $16. So let's mark that one up. And underneath that level, you can see NIO fell into support during October 2022 at around about 830. So let's mark that level there. And there's also a level back here we can note as well, around about 1070. And that corresponds to this peak, which was created a number of months after the original listing, around 1050. Now underneath 838, we've got this most recent price peak here, around about $7.70, which was created back in September 2024. So this is a key price peak. And also, if you look back further, you can see a lot of the price action during November, October 2023 did trade around about this 750 to 770 level. And also NIO found support around about $7 during May 2023. So I'm going to mark up that peak around about 770. We've also got some trading going on here between the buyers and the sellers around about this price area here of $6. So you can see NIO traded down, it moved sideways, fell into this low here of 350 and then traded back up to find resistance around about $6. So I'll mark that one up as well. You can see as well it did find support around $6 all the way back in 2018. Now underneath $6 we've also got a key price level of $3.60, and you can see NIO traded down and found support in April 2024 into 360, and then it had another go at finding support during September 2024. More recently it did break this key level, but it looks as if there is an element of support here around 360. Now you can see I've already marked up that $3 low, which is very important. Underneath $3 we've got two other levels I want to mark up. This level here, which is around $2, that corresponds to this low back in 2020. And also the final one is the all-time low, which corresponds to the trough back here created in October 2019. That's around $1.20. So based on these key price levels for NIO stock, on the weekly chart, long term, we can currently see that NIO's trading above that key level of $3 and it's underneath that level of 360. Now, if we zoom in on the weekly chart for NIO stock, we can look at this price action in a bit more detail. We can see that since price moved downwards into this trough here, there was a brief counter trend moving back up to around 960 before it fell away and created this trough here, and it found support at this significant level of $3.60. There was a brief rally back up before NIO got sold off again, and once again price traded back down to test this key level of 360. There was a big rally at this point and buyers came back in, taking the price back up to create this significant peak around 770 before NIO got sold off again. And there was a steady fall into this level around here, around $4, before price moved up in a counter trend to create this peak here around 550. Since that time, it got sold off again and price fell through the key level of 360 and it found support at $3. You can see here we've got a reversal bar at that $3 level. So obviously some buyers came back in, seeing value at $3 and bought up NIO stock. Since then, it has reversed. There has been a small rally up to about 450. It couldn't go higher than this. And then it was sold off again, falling through 360. And currently, it looks as if it's looking for support around about 330. So you can see the low here of this bar is about 334. It did move back up to this peak here. And now it looks as if this week it might test 333 again. So you can see I've marked up this level of 333. It could offer some short-term support for NIO in the next few weeks. It has tested it once here 3 weeks ago, and it looks as if it's found some support this week, and there is some price action moving up here. However, based on the overall price action, it does look as if, even if there's a small rally in the next few weeks, that price is moving down and probably is going to come back down and test its $3 once again. And if we zoom out on the weekly chart, we can see that short-term trend is conforming to the longer-term trend, which is down for NIO. So the big question is will NIO stock find support at $3 and then reverse? Is $3 the bottom, or will it fall further and perhaps fall into the level of $2.12 down here? Right now, if nothing changes and there's no catalyst, it is more likely that the stock will move lower as it trends gradually lower and gets sold off. But we might have a catalyst in the next weeks and months. Perhaps if NIO posts increasing sales and there's some news about significant reductions in the losses and the balance sheet starts to look more positive, there's a real high chance that this stock could find the bottom and then take off and start to move up. I think for anything significant to change with NIO stock price, we really need to see some sort of catalyst come out of the NIO management. And that could be the Q2 earnings report. If those numbers look positive and the bottom line improves significantly, that may attract investors back in to buy up NIO stock at these low levels. And that could mean that $3 could be the bottom for NIO, and buyers come back in at that level and start to take the price higher, with the earnings report showing that steps towards Q4 profitability is realistic. So if that's the case, we might see something like this on the chart. We might see that $3 is the low, then we might get a breakout towards the upside on positive earnings in Q2, perhaps up to $5. It might come back again to test before moving up to challenge this peak here of 770. That's a real possibility. And of course, if the Q3 reports are positive as well, they show increases in profits and a reduction in losses, and that almost that final step towards profitability in Q3, we might see price push even higher. And by Q4, if they post profitability, we might see the price break out and move above this key level over here of $16. So this price action is a real possibility. There's lots of interest in NIO stock, and lots of investors have been waiting patiently for this stock to move up. Don't forget, they're in a hyper-competitive market, but they make great cars. They're expanding their range, and they've got the battery swap stations, looking towards profitability in the future. They do have a USP, and I think NIO's got a real chance of balancing the books this year and rewarding loyal investors. So obviously this would be the ideal scenario for NIO stockholders, but this is all hinged on management improving the bottom line and taking those key steps towards profitability. Of course, on the more bearish side, nothing's going to change. If management can't show that they are reducing losses and the bottom line is improving, that's not going to give investors confidence, and potentially current stockholders who are holding the stock, they might lose confidence, lose patience, and give up altogether. Now, if they sell off and others follow suit, the stock price might fall further. So what might happen is it comes back to test $3, has a brief rally, and then it gets sold off back into this area around $2. And this could be, after the Q2 report, perhaps Q3, if management hasn't shown investors that it is improving and it is delivering on its plans for Q4 profitability. And beyond this, it could fall further. It might have a brief rally back up to $3 before getting heavily sold off, and it could even go down all the way down to the all-time low. This is a real possibility if NIO management cannot deliver on the numbers they promised. And don't forget, this trend, which could unfold over the next 6 months, it is conforming with the longer term trend. So we have to expect the trend to keep going, to keep trending downwards, unless there's a catalyst, unless something significant changes in the world of NIO. And hopefully that can be that NIO management deliver on their promises of profitability by Q4. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you bullish on NIO by the end of the year? Can they turn a profit and deliver for patient shareholders? Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.